Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the, good lord, I don't even remember which episode, 105th, I believe, episode of Book of Hours, House of Light, the House of Light expansion, playing as the archaeologist during something of an odd recording session given the fire alarms and such. But we are going to, today, we're going to wrap up the further story that we brought in Hokebald for. We're going to have a salon in about a minute and 15 seconds of in-game time. And there's a small dilemma that I have in terms of figuring out whether or not I want to level up Snow Stories, because my Whist is fairly precious. Actually, as is my Tryst, for that matter. So there's a couple, it can go either way. However, I should note that leveling up Snow Stories is a matter of generating four from every. In fact, I shouldn't have given up the health at all, really. But in this case, I really just need to generate 4 memories to be able to level it up. So I think, with that in mind, let's get to work on those right away. Because I think that'll give me more options as the salon goes by. So what we're looking for here, we've got Snow Stories. So we're going to have a Confounding Parable, and we're going to have a loss. So realistically, I just need to generate 3 winter or moon memories. And the other bit of good news on that is I can read something like Glimmerings for a bittersweet certainty. I can read something that will generate salt. So we're on to a Pale Lady and a Prince of Wines. And then I guess I could do the Contradiction as well. So Observations of the Peacock Door. Let's do that. So that'll still give me enough shaft to be able to work the salon. But I'll have all the memories I need to be able to level up the Snow Stories. The reason that's relevant is I'll be able to go down the Hushery path, and as a result, I'll be able to use that Whist. So let's toss out another sea glass. If I cast an object into the sea, it will be lost, perhaps irretrievably. Use this to dispose of junk or of danger. And an offer from Oriflammes, the Mirror of Melisanth. So a 12 sky text. Oriflammes thanks you for your custom. All right, I think we are... Oh yes, sorry, I was going to also deal with the event. So, the Royal Endeavour protected. The Endeavour name Philosopher has been protected. The Royal Endeavour proceeds on schedule. The new king has sponsored the construction of a vessel for a name of the fire that is to come. Various miscreants propose to sabotage it. Whatever your feelings on the politics of the Mansus and the Wake, librarian, you will recognize that such a provocation might very well spark war. And I find war inconvenient, so I ask for your help in arranging protection. Something on the Alchemies of the Sunset Road would be very useful, or failing that, a competent text on Bells and Braziers 10 might give me what I need. The attempt was made, but my arts... The attempt was made. By my arts, I ensured the attempt failed. Philosopher remains. I have served the cause of peace today, librarian. Generosity remains my profoundest flaw. Okay. So, there's a bronze spin tray. We could have actually used that with the acquisition. Well, actually, we still can. An inkling, an opportunity to gain a powerful memory or a precursor to a possible misuse of a great ink. And Magister Hokebald, who now has Agenda Better Gods. A visitor has been affected by recent events and may now be more inclined to join the Lighthouse Institute, and has sympathy for the Chandler. A visitor has been affected by recent events and may now be more inclined to join the Lighthouse Institute. Someone with a higher agenda. So I believe that is the 3rd character that is inspired. So I believe Wakefield is inspired. I believe Fraser starts inspired. All right, we'll just let this run by. So again, our first priority... Actually, I could probably... I'm trying to think if there is some sense in... I was trying to think, does it make sense to pour some water and just use the motley bed to restore the metal? But I don't really think it does make any sense. The postmistress examines the letter and deems it sufficient. It'll go with the next post, she assures me. I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. Alright, the skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. So, the priority, number one priority, is to get the metal back. Number 2 is going to be bringing in, getting the last level of Snow Stories leveled up. He might even reply. Alright, so there's Fraser's invitation. Stamp, envelope, send. And finally, when something is given to the sea, it rarely returns, although of course I did. Whatever it is, now it isn't. So that's 2 of the 5 that I need. So 3 more. So technically, if I go under moon and winter, we could use the old wound. That's not really the best use of my resources, I don't think. Okay. Quite eager to see how this all turns out. So in 25 seconds we get our other 2 visitors, but in 35 seconds we get Fraser. Okay, so this doesn't do that much for me. One thing I am a little unclear on is, actually, I'm debating on whether or not I want to do this. While I am waiting, I could try and use the Edict Marshal to... Okay, I wasn't expecting that. No, I still need 2 moon. Yeah, I was debating on doing something like generating the Wormwood Dream. Although I think probably, realistically, I can just do that at the end of the day. Let's maybe not invest so much in using up elements of the soul until we've finished the salon. I do suspect that I'm going to get bitten by the lack of whist, but we have ways of navigating that. All right, A Pale Lady and a Prince of Wines, an anonymous biography of Ava de Wolf, last of the de Wolfs, focused rather salaciously on her personal troubles and intrigues. Ava de Wolf is engaged to one Abraham Wheellock, but he leaves her at the altar. Furious and humiliated, she returns to Brandkrug and is not seen in London again. 3 days after her departure, Abraham Wheellock's body is washed up near Gravesend. His face is so badly pecked by birds that he is only identified by his belongings. These include a waxed pouch containing a letter addressed to Wheellock, whose contents seem to show he is a spy in the pay of the Austrians. Subsequent investigations suggest that the letter is a forgery, but the matter remains obscure. Lord Franklin Bancroft, sometimes called the Prince of Wines, begins a series of visits to Brandkrug House. His relationship with Ava becomes a source of scandal. Ava is by now 49, but rumors persist for years of a de Wolf Bancroft heir. Ava's biographer claims that before her drowning death, her child by Bancroft was adopted by her friends, the Southies, that the child became the sister of the later poet laureate Robert Southey. No real evidence is provided in support of this claim. Glimmerings, an anonymous prison diary written by a dreamer convicted of oniric irresponsibility and confined to the Cucurbit. The prisoner is plainly terrified and bewildered by their situation, but has been unable to wrangle a coherent explanation out of anyone. But the dreams keep coming, and they keep writing them down. Snow, broken mirrors, half-heard sky music, flowers of white, red, and black, a blood-streaked winter dawn, the most notorious signifiers of oniric risk, fantastically vivid and detailed. No wonder they were locked up. Their final recorded dream is of a worm jewel beneath Brandkrug Isle, which they open with a key carved from their finger bone. And finally, observations on the Peacock Door. Naingala of Lagash discusses the Peacock Door, the highest door available to mortals in the Mansis, a rent, an imperfection, an abrasion. Notably, the book is written in Vac, which, by some accounts, is another aspect of the Peacock Door itself. Naingala addresses this by apologizing courteously to the door and the language at the end of every section. The Peacock Door did not exist, Naingala says, in the days when the gods from stone entered the Mansis. They used the fanged key to open the Savage Door, a door not usually available to mortals. Speech, as the initiates of Kion would have it, is a wound. I fear that through that wound the blood of the Mansis flows even now, and that one day speech will be an end to dream. I fear that, but I fear the alternative far more. So that should cover me for my... for leveling up. So again, I'm just going to double check. This is one of these things I don't want to get wrong. So yeah, Snow Stories was going to go to Hushery. Maybe not a bad idea just to double check that I don't have anything else. Yeah, so we don't want to use up the old wound. So in this case, I'm going to use the Tryst, and that's because we'll have 2 uses of the Tryst while we try to recover this one. I don't see any value in bringing back the Shafts, so I'm going to let those run by. And now, I think it's just a question of waiting for the Salon to start. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's definitely... we want to do the cataloging. There may be a few other sort of side tasks that I want to get done, but I think right now our priority should be for... My visitor grows impatient. Not as impatient as Hokabald, though. Did Douglas Moore receive my invitation? Better now. So if I can string out the start of the Salon as much as possible, this will help me... This will help me recover the element. I guess we need to wait till the afternoon anyway. He does a lot with silence, this man. Did Strathcoin receive my invitation? So I don't think we can start the Salon in here anyway, because of the time. Yeah. Of course, all of this is just buying me more time for the Tryst. The skill is now level 6. Its power aspects have also increased. So, while we get this set up... It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. So while we get everything set up, let's get the, let's rearrange the entries. And then sharps should be moving up. So I did mention before, in terms of planning, there's a bunch of work that I need to do in terms of raising the floor. So if I take a look at most of the skills, so a lot of things, so at the basic level, we should have at least 3 for most of the skills. But as you'll see, things like Ithistry really are starting at 5 or 6. So at this point, I really should not be treating level 2 as the floor. I should be raising that. But I'm not too worried about it right now, simply because there's nothing that I'm going to be committing to the Tree of... Well, sorry, that's not entirely true. I may be putting things in like Bosque and Preservation and all that, but maybe what we'll do is we'll wait for the Salon. However, let's get Hushery taken care of. So this will be a level 5. Should also probably describe the arts. So aesthetics, necromancy, silence. So with that, we should put the sharps in place. Sorry, let me try that again. Sharps, knives, dangers, and things out of place. A wound in dreams. Before speech we could not dream, which is to say that before speech tore open the peacock gate to dreams, the mantis was unwounded and at peace. It's not obligatory for long to pass that gate, but they generally choose to. Perhaps that's why the hours charge their names to hunt down long, even the long who claim to serve them. Hushery recognizes this truth. So much needed whist, and then level 6. So that would be the snow stories of wind, woe, and winter. Much is lost, still all the winds, still every beating tongue. Now still the mirrored moon, the sea's cauldron. When nothing's left, then nothing is undone. Hushery. It may be, sorry, I'm going to just consult my notes here. So under illumination, I don't think I have what it takes to get a level 7 up here. I seem to remember that was going to be preliminary meter. But the good news is I believe Arab is the one that I have the least of now. So we have at least 2 to work with for most of my elements of the soul. And it's still morning, so we get a little more mileage for the tryst. He does a lot with silence, this man. So obviously this is something that I could have used for the snow stories. I don't regret running with what I had, though, because the sooner we get the tryst back, the more effective it will be for the salon, which we're about to start now. So there is a small possibility that we don't have the tryst ready in 41 seconds, but this is a risk I'm willing to take. I don't want to run the counter down too much, and we're going to get some memories that I want to use for my for leveling up. So a salon in the Hall of Division. Bring light back to the mirrors where once Lady Ava held court. We will be inviting Magister Hokebald, Metallurgist, Gourmet, Corrupted Immortal, and supposedly a long-ago King's Byblow. Senior Corso Reverti, Manuscript Hunter, Legacy Scavenger, Mercenary. Many would question his ethics, few would deny his acuteness. Dr. Serena Blackwood, one-time librarian of Hush House, one-time librarian of the Invisible Serapeum in Alexandria, and currently what exactly? Serena is close-mouthed, but I know that she has worked with the St. Ronwyn Trust. D.I. Douglas Moore, Detective Illuminate of the Suppression Bureau, a stoic but weary fellow. His dearest wish is to move to Chingford and grow roses, but the buggers won't let him retire. And Mr. Fraser Strathcoyne, philanthropist, collector, former librarian, a complicated man, but not a cruel one. And they will be enjoying roast beef. Our fathers of old were robust, stout, and strong, and kept open house with good cheer all day long, which made their plump tenants rejoice in this song. Oh, the roast beef of old England, and old English roast beef. Henry Fielding, The Grub Street Opera. Roast potatoes. You really need rosemary for roast potatoes, but fortunately the kitchen garden at Hush House has never been short of rosemary. Poached mackerel. We do not poach fish in Brandkrug without recalling the turbot crisis of 1786, when Dr. Westcott caught a prodigious turbot and required the kitchen to poach it for him without division, but no vessel of sufficient size could be found to poach it entire. At last they resorted to alchemical assistance. Mackerel, fortunately, requires no alchemy for its poaching. Our favorite, orange jumble. They should be the size of teacup rims and should curl their crisp edges faintly pink as the underneath of a young mushroom. Lady Jekyll, Kitchen Essays. And pear pie, flaky, buttery crust, luscious pears with cinnamon and nutmeg. Finally, we have TRN drinking cocoa. TRN Spices and Savors Department marks this as the secret sacrament of the last Inca. I did point this out in a Reddit thread, the subreddit thread, but we've got the Weather Factory subreddit. Sacrament Acite, Sacrament Calcite, Sacrament Malachite, Sacrament Chocolate. Domaine Reveline. The Revelines abandoned their lands, and yet someone is still making this wine. Evening Isles Coffee. Coffee from beyond the sunset sea. Cater and Hero Second Flush Assam, tea from the land of the real unicorn, imported by Cater and Hero, and Honey Scar Jasmine tea, soothing to the senses. So, let's line them all up. My guests take their places for lunch. Keep an eye on the salon as it progresses. You will need to add soul cards to encourage the conversation to flow. Different guests will need different soul cards. The more guests, the longer the salon will last. A formal meal, lunch, and supper last longer than less formal salons, allowing an extra interaction between your guests. Energetic exchanges. Spice up the conversation. Add an Arab card. So already one of our more difficult encounters. Corso has brought a deep Mandaic cylinder's seal as a gift for Hokabald. Because, Magister, there are so few who might appreciate it. While Hokabald is thus gratified, he brings out a collection of similar cylinder seals and secures Hokabald's opinion and advice on their authenticity. So it's nice that we've got a deep Mandaic. Of course, we already have the skill, but we can still use that to level up certain other skills. Conversation ebbs and flows, so I'm just going to get the Trist back. I think we're going to take a risk and do fixing and mending with the Shapt. A more sober tone, add a Fost card. So I don't normally like breaking up the salon like this, but it will be helpful to have the memories from Denzel, and I do want to try and get some money to work with. Exalted debates. Douglas and Corso chat affably about church. Douglas used to be a chapel goer, but Mrs. Moore disapproves. Sacra Solus Invicti. I think that's actually going to be helpful for me. I seem to remember wanting to level that one up. So that's 2 of the 6, I believe. Energetic exchanges. Spice up the conversation. Add an Arab card. So this is a bit of a concern because we don't have any remaining. But we may be able to gain... I don't need to work with that right now. We may be able to gain more in the Tree of Wisdoms. We'll see. Corso adroitly flatters Hokabald into an impromptu lesson in the sigillography of Deep Mandaic. So 2 Deep Mandaic lessons. Interesting. Stolen Secret. Don't see that from Denzel often. So that'll help me when generating the Wormwood Dream. Wistful Asides. Instinct and Emotion. Add a Trist card. Fraser complains to Douglas about break-ins. Douglas unsympathetically suggests that Fraser might want to keep less contraband on the premises then. Wolf stories. For those of you not familiar, I do like this line. I think we may have encountered it before, but this is for those of you not familiar with this. In the preceding game, Cultist Simulator, one of the first vaults that you are able to get texts from is in fact Strathcoin's residence. So this is a reference to Cultist Simulator. And in fact, I can say, because I played not the very first alpha of the game, but the first one that was in the Unity prototype with the UI that they had for that, I believe Strathcoin's Residence was in fact the only vault that you could go on. So that's a particularly long-standing one. So there is something kind of fun about him complaining about cultists trying to take his stuff. And of course... Douglas's response. All right, we're going to bring back the Shapt. That may be unnecessary, but we'll do what we can. And this is a Sights and Sensations Mirror of Melisynth. We'll probably just put this on the... Yeah, I don't think I have any existing 12 sky. Exalted Debates, a more sober tone, add a Faust card. All right, so looking up. Douglas and Corso discuss the nuances of the differences in the received and sanctioned versions of the Book of Suns, once Corso's got over his surprise at Douglas' interests. No one ever believes I got a bleeding scholarship. Douglas grumbles. I remember, I actually particularly like this one because we just finished the God in the Wood. Lively chatter. Inject a little gaiety. Add a core card. All right. We may... it's a little early to say, but we may actually be coming out of this with a full collection of memories. Feeling good about that if that's true. Douglas and Serena discuss a shared, concealed, but evidently profound passion for knitting. Douglas, if you tell anyone outside this room, I'll have you locked up. Serena, if you tell anyone outside this room, I'll give King Crucible your address. All right, not too much from Denzel, but enough. Oh, actually, what I should be doing now, based on the based on what we know we're going to need, I'm going to try and generate that Wormwood Dream right now. Let's not do it that way. Let's go to... Oh, I'm going to need a memory no matter what. If that's the case... Now, the more difficult one for me is if I give up the Fa. So, like, what I'd like to do here is Ascendant Harmony. I think I can add that with Sacrolamea. And the Fife. But what happens if they want the Faust? I don't think I need to rush that. So, let's just leave that be for now. It'd be nice to make another Ascendant Harmony, but of course, if I do that now, then I'm just creating more problems for myself. So we'll make the Daidumos tomorrow. Conversation ebbs and flows. Oh, it's done. My guests leave happy. You've gained an additional potent memory. Okay, actually, with that in mind then, I don't think this is the smartest choice for me to do, but I think I'm going to run with it. Craft a Daidumos, evoke a chilly sky influence. Sacrolamea plus keeper level sky plus an Ascendant Harmony creates a Daidumos. Or I think creates Daidumos, not a Daidumos. Okay. I'd say that's a good day's work. So a lively Salon. Memory Satisfaction, we'll try and turn that into something before the end of the day. We've got another Curious Hunch, so we'll add that over here. Weaving a Not Working Lesson, Sacrosalis Invicti, Wolf Stories, Deep Mandaic, 2 of those, and 2 Sacrosalis. Okay, so Deep Mandaic is a Forge and Lantern memory for me. So I guess the first thing that I should probably work out here would be, oh, you know what? Using up that Faust might have just sunk me, because Sacrosalis is currently at 4, and I probably could have put together some things to level that up. And I don't have anything else. Oh no, that's not true. Winter will level that up for me. Yeah, so I think probably where I'm best placed to we're in best place to sort of, how do I put this? Use these skills. I really do want to start thinking about the Tree of Wisdoms at this point. I know I keep saying this, but you'll sort of notice we've actually made some real progress here. So all of the branches are now open. So what we kind of want to think about at the moment is, first of all, what are the elements of the soul that I'm short on? So this would be things like, my Arab, maybe we'll start putting a little bit more towards core, tryst. We have a few different options available for us. So what I'm going to, now that we've sort of hopped around the Tree of Wisdoms and we have the idea of what, essentially now we can start slotting in a skill wherever we need it. I need to start thinking about where does the effort, where does the effort benefit me the most? So for instance, if I'm going to put something in Illumination 3, specifically what skill? And of course, the answer to that will be, ideally something, low level like glaziery and lightsmithing, because we should be able to, we use one element of the soul and then we just move on to the next thing, and and we can sort of save the books for other cases. So one thing that's going to drive the exploration will just be acquiring elements of the soul that I feel I'm short on, and I want to sort of replace, or not play, but augment through committing things to the Tree of Wisdoms. In addition, one of the things that I would like to try and do is, I have not quite yet pushed anything to the top tier. We're getting close with like Great Signs and Great Scars. I definitely have a few things. I have a few ideas in terms of things that I'd like to take to their highest levels. But this will be important from the simple perspective that right now, if I want to do things like make a like an Incastum Terminale, or if I want to make some of these high level memories, for the most part, I think I can make almost all, if not all, of the different things that are craftable. But some paths are certainly easier than others. And I'm really at the point now where I really shouldn't be struggling to get certain outcomes, right? I really should just be saying, yeah, do I want to make a winning move? Do I want to make an Invincible Audacity? I just put these things together and I've got one sitting in my inventory. And at the moment now, I'm sort of putting more effort than I think I should to realize those outcomes. So it's sort of a two-track plan. One is about acquiring elements of the soul, and those elements of the soul are to make sure that when I call a Salon, I'm going to get all of the memories that I need. That should be the first priority. Basically make sure that I have enough to be able to get through any Salon that I put together. But the secondary concern is also, I have a number of books that I can't quite read yet because I haven't leveled things up to a certain level. I have a number of, I have certain types of crafting that I want to do. And because I've been focusing a bit on traversing the tree, that's still a good call to make. I can now open all of these branches, or I've opened all of these branches and I can get the elements of the soul that I need. But the time has come to actually sort of pay off that debt and get to a point where I feel like I'm making intelligent choices in terms of what crafting I want to do. And of course, that's going to inform, opening up these various rooms and such. But the first thing we're going to do is deal with the skills, and I'll probably have a little bit of a think about that in terms of where I want to apply these, where I think they're going to have the most value. But all of that, of course, will be happening in future episodes. So thank you very much for watching, and I believe there should be one more. Sorry, it really threw me for a loop having to end that first episode early. I believe there should be one more for this week, but as always, just rely on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, hopefully for about a half hour. And if you're watching this on Friday, I'll see you on Monday. Take care.